soldier coming at you again from a crisp, cool, foggy fall morning here from Robertson County, North Carolina. Yeah! And it is foggy. You can tell looking out the back window of the old beast here. But it is foggy. Because we've had a major temperature shift. It is currently 51 degrees according to my little thermostat thingy in the truck. It's supposed to tell me what the temperature is. Anyway, anyhow, that's for you, Brother Kyle. Got that backwards a little bit, but that's alright. One of them days. Hope everybody remembers to wear red. Remember everyone deployed. Let's talk about deployment. We got troops all over this globe once again. Well, so once again, they've been all over the globe for the last 60 years or more. Let's talk about recent deployments, I guess. Supposedly we sent an aircraft carrier group to the Mediterranean in order to have a show of force to Hamas. Why waste time, money, and manpower to go over there and do nothing? Old soldier, what are you talking about? Look at who's in the White House and what's backing him. They're not going to do anything to Hamas. So if they're not going to go over and directly support Israel's fight against this terrorist organization, why send them at all? Why send them at all? And that brings me to the point that, as a country as a whole, or I should say our government, not our country, but the government as a whole, it's just throwing, I don't know, confetti into the wind. That's the way I see it. Like, see me, here we are. But the reality is, we're not going to do anything. If we're going to be an ally, be an ally. If not, put a bunch of food and medical supplies on a plane and fly to Israel. So here you go. But, hey, I'm not the commander-in-chief, so moves me to the next point. That crowd in the House of Representatives that can't get an answer out of. I think what was her name, Rashida Tlaib? Oh yeah. She ain't saying a damn word. Neither is that freaking idiot Ilhan Omar. Because people are calling them out for their comments and their statements and their support of Hamas. And there's a couple others, I just can't remember all their names. A bunch of pieces of garbage. Every one of them ought to be arrested and charged for treason. Every one of them. Yeah, and I know I'm talking about the whole thing again, but it's prominent everywhere. Everybody else speaking their piece, I figure I'd give mine. Anybody that agrees with the fact that Hamas has every right to do what they're doing, you just need to pack up and go somewhere else, because you take a look at the picture of what they did to the daggum babies. Burn a bunch of them in their cribs. Burn them to a cinder! Those aren't human beings that did that. They're damned animals. Wild, evil animals. And what do you do to a wild, evil animal? You annihilate it. Those babies in the innocence of their life. Taken out because of the hatred in the heart of those people. And their leader, their proclaimed worldwide leader, urging for a Muslim uprising around the goddamn world. It's time to send him to meet his Allah and 72 damn virgins. Along with anybody else that supports Hamas. And it's time to turn Iran into a freaking glass parking lot. Another baby's beheaded. Why? Why? For being a Jew? Just living in Israel? That's why I say, if we're gonna go over, let's go over and let's clean the freaking house. But if we're not, then we need to stand out of Israel's way while they do what they need to do. And when anybody criticizes them, we as a nation look at them and say, sit down and shut the hell up. Was it your children that got killed? Was it your nation that got rocketed? And this lie about Israel occupying, that's a bunch of horse shit. Bunch of it. A little bit of history lesson here, boys and girls. Israel regained full access to the city of Jerusalem in 1967. They gave Muslims unfettered access to all their holy sites, even today. Whereas the Jewish people are restricted from going into certain religious sites that are religious to Jews. Because why? They're in the West Bank, or they're in Gaza, or other areas occupied by the so-called Palestinian Authority. Israel really doesn't want Gaza, never has. Worthless piece of stretch of desert on the coast of the Mediterranean. But it's time to end all this mess, people. You don't like Jewish people? Fine. Don't like them. Darn sure don't condemn them when they defend themselves for an unprovoked attack on their sovereignty. And make no bones about it, Israel is a sovereign nation. And in modern parlance, they have been since 1948. If you want to go into the ancient historical record, we can go all the way back before the birth of Christ. Now, I don't set the greatest example of being a Christian, I'll admit it. Be the first one to tell you, but I do believe what the holy book of the Bible says. These are his chosen people. Now some like to convey that the modern Israel is not. Well, you know what? When I die, I go meet God. He can explain it to me then, if he chooses to do so. If not, I'm going to believe what the Bible tells me and treat those people with the respect I'm supposed to. And I'm not saying that every Jew is perfect. Then again, neither is any Catholic I've ever met. And darn sure, the Baptists I know in my life are far from it. I'm calling them all out. I used to tease people about being a back row Baptist, but I can remember now. I can see kind of why my mama became one. Because you can sit there and you can see all the people putting knives in everybody else's back, trying to get popularity in the church. That might be why I've kind of have separated myself from the Baptist faith, if you will, or denomination, excuse me. Yeah, my heart's hurting after watching what's been done to them babies. Let alone to all the others that have been kidnapped, raped, mutilated, and murdered. Yeah, I'm an old soldier. And I've been to combat zones, in combat zones, where it was either me or the enemy. If you follow my meaning. That was what we were trained to do, was take out the enemy. But we didn't go and maim and mutilate after, everything was said and done. I'm speaking generally. All my time in the Army, never had the opportunity to fire back. Been shot at, like been blown up. I'm just speaking of U.S. policy in general. We court-martialed a lieutenant for that during the Vietnam War because of the lack of control he had over his troops. And yes, going into combat brings your stress level to an all-new high. And if you go somewhere for any length of time and the people don't trust you, I get it. But it's still no excuse to commit atrocities. We're dealing with an organization that is sworn, and this is in their national charter, to eradicate a group of people from the earth. Well, I told you that they're not the only ones doing that. The other place, yeah, you're right. Chinese are doing it to the Uyghur Muslims in China. I can't pronounce it, so you have to forgive me. But he's got them, China's doing it to them. Let's go back to World War I when the Turks like to have eradicated the Armenians. Well, that didn't happen. Go back and look at history, folks. And that's not to say what the communists have done to every darn nation they've ever been into. You think of China alone. China probably killed close to 6 million people, if not more, in the course of establishing a communist government in that country. Soviet Union, the former Soviet Union, sure as hell did. And the Nazis not only eradicated Jews, they eradicated gypsies, Poles. Yes, there were many Poles that were not Jewish that were executed for just being Polish. Because the Nazis looked at the Poles as an inferior race of people. Oh, so communism is a political movement. No, communism is about tyranny, where a small group of people have power while they keep everybody in a state of poverty to support the state. That's not communism. Maybe not by the book definition, but by the reality of what communist nations become. Go to Cuba. You still got people down there living in squalor in automobiles that are on their last leg. You go to the store, shortage of meats. If you want to buy rice, there's only one kind of rice you can buy. They might have an entire aisle of it, but that's the only thing you're going to get. Oh, and you're limited to how much you can buy when you go to the grocery store. And I'm way off on a tangent now. My point being is, yeah, I get it. Israel's not the only nation that has had to go through this. But the majority of aggressions around the world is usually to conquer a nation and allow the people to live. This is an organization, a terrorist organization, sworn to eradicate the people of Israel, not only from Israel, but from the face of the earth. So that means wherever they are. And even worse, you've got these dumbass libtards. Like I saw a sign the other day, queers for Hamas. Okay, queers for Hamas. Take your homosexual ass over there and see how long they let you stay alive. Just go and see. Don't believe me? Let's go back to Cairo, Egypt a few years back when ISIS was taking over in that area. And then, you know, the ISIS sleeper cell in Egypt coming into play. They took a bunch of homosexuals from Egypt and tossed them off the building. Yeah, it's, you know, but yeah, where these dumbasses live, they live right here in the United States. And that's the thing, they don't think for a minute that anything will happen to them if they went over there to visit. I support you! Good, now we throw you off building. And don't get me started on the Quran, folks. Other than I'll tell you this, it's a made-up book of lies. But I'll digress from there. I'm going to get off here, folks. My heart is bleeding and hurting for those babies that were killed and massacred for no other reason than being an Israeli or a Jew. Forgive me for my language today, folks. But I've seen too many children suffer in this world, and to see that just tears me up. I'll stay safe out there, my friends, until I get another one out in the neighborhood old soldier out.